Welcome everybody. My name is Michael, or I remember saying Kubera or Avi. Those were the days. I had a commenter. I read your comments every now and then. Had a commenter recently ask for an update on tinnitus. I was thinking about it on my drive here to across the park. How long have I had tinnitus for? Well, I had a weird realization. I actually lost track. I used to be so focused in every single day. I would count the amount of days, weeks, months, seconds, everything. How long have I had this disease? It's incurable. I still have it, and it's still pretty bad. I would not wish it on anybody I knew, but I've learned to deal with it. I guess some people might say it has gotten better, especially back when I would say I probably had hyperacusis. I don't believe I have hyperacusis anymore. Actually, I'm pretty certain I don't have hyperacusis because I'm able to relatively live a normal life. But here's why my tinnitus is better. I don't go to concerts. I don't go to festivals, loud bars, loud restaurants. I still protect my hearing for the most part. There was a fire alarm recently. I had my earmuffs during work. When I worked at the dealership, if I was going through the back, I had my earmuffs. I had ear protection. For flights right now, it's okay. But if it's really, really loud, I plug my ears or I have earplugs in. I know after what's been 4 years now, I just realized it's been 1600, over 1601, about to be 1602 technically, since I had it in Poland. In an hour it's already the next day, so 1602 days, and I've reached what I guess you can describe as a point of habituation, but it's still annoying. It's still terrible. I still hate it. I don't really think about it. And it's not a normal habituation like many other people where they're like, yeah, I just get distracted with the joy of life. For me, it's more, I'm so depressed, I'm so stressed out, I'm working hard, I'm focused on money and debt and getting out of this trap so much. And I've been focused so much on that ever since I came back to America that we're approaching on 2 years now. In June 2nd, 2 years. And in that time frame, I lost track of tinnitus. I lost track of everything. I realized we got to figure this out, and we're still working on it. And right now, super stressful, and obviously stress does not help with tinnitus. So there's moments where it ramps up when I freak out, I don't have any money, and we freak out, we yell. That's when tinnitus gets worse. The stress, the fact that you're not able to sleep, the fact that there's more coffee being drunk. At the beginning, I couldn't drink coffee or Monster Energy drinks or anything, and I used to love that stuff. And slowly, due to working at a dealership, you're going to have stress. You're going to have longer hours. You're going to have to wake up earlier sometimes. And there was one night I got home at past 1 a.m. And then, you have to come back in the next day. So obviously started drinking some coffee and energy drinks. And caffeine didn't help my tinnitus. And it still doesn't. But you get used to it. And I got so distracted. I got so hyper-focused on stuff away from tinnitus that for the moment it was worse than tinnitus, and still is worse than tinnitus. There's always other stuff, other health problems and whatnot. I still want a cure for it. I still wish every single day I didn't have it, because I want to go to a festival one of these days. I want to go to a concert. But I did have a thought recently that if I did protect my hearing, if I stood far back enough, if I did the proper steps, yes, there's always a risk that it can worsen. But I survived a lot recently, especially the past year. A fire alarm going off because I guess the washing machine in our building was starting to burn. I've had people honk at me. I've had people slam doors in front of me. I've had people yell at me, and that's not so bad. But I've had super loud motorcycles, super loud cars. I still, shudder and try and protect my ears. And I don't go outside when it's super loud. I try and stay away. Like in Chicago, I stay away from CTAs. Sirens are the worst. So if there's a siren, I run inside my car. I run inside a building. I protect my ears. I have also a set of headphones that are noise canceling, and those work really well, but you can't wear them for too long because there's anti-pressure or whatever it's called. I'm a little tired today, obviously, but I did just want to go through that. I'm not feeling great. I'm not feeling generally better, because you're always kind of going to feel different. The fact that I can't hear properly anymore. I think also part of the reason my tinnitus has just kind of been in the background is I don't focus in on my hearing as much anymore. And part of that is, I think it is confirmed, my hearing is getting worse. And just from listening in on conversations, slowly, generally, it's degenerative. I'm going to probably have even worse hearing 10, 15, 20 years from now. I'm not wearing my hearing aids, but eventually I'll be forced to probably wear hearing aids again. It is what it is. I don't want to work in a loud environment, but right now I have to drive, Uber, whatever, and into the city. It is loud sometimes. There's sirens. I don't cover my ears anymore when I'm in the car, for the most part, as long as they're passing by. So there's certain situations that's gotten a lot better, because before I had to wear earmuffs and earplugs and constantly hide, and all the time. You go outside, there's a shopping cart, someone slams it. Now I don't care. And part of that is the hyperacusis. The hyperacusis was literally painful. Your ears would flare up and it would get like itchy and start burning, and it was red. It was physical pain alongside the mental toll of it, that, oh my God, it's going to get worse. And it would get worse for the next like 3-4 days. It would be this tremendous spike. 100% thought I had hyperacusis. 100% obviously was very severe tinnitus. It has gotten better. But again, there's many precautions I take where I don't live a normal life, and I'm not going to get, I still watch out for certain medications that can worsen it. I'm not going to just take anything willy-nilly from the doctor, because just as easily, I know it can return full force. And I don't want that to happen, because there's certain medications out there that even taking once, when I had COVID, I forgot what it was, an antibiotic, you're fine. You're going to be fine. No. The first pill I took, immediately, boom, full force ramp up. And I was like, I'm not risking this. I'm going to be fine. I survived COVID twice. So, I think COVID also might have worsened my tinnitus. Who knows? But there was a lot that happened. Ultimately, we're in a better place in terms of my tinnitus, ironically, in a much worse financial position, probably in the worst financial position I've ever been right now. The debt I'm facing is tremendous. The stress that I'm facing is tremendous. We're having many sleepless nights, but it's a distraction away from all of this. And I think in the future, obviously, money is debt is something that will be solved by just making more money. You have to work harder, whatever, working on my degree. It is going to be solved eventually. So once that is solved, there's going to be less stress, meaning there should be less of an impact on my tinnitus. As long as I stay away from super loud noises and take the necessary precautions and work on my mental health and physical health, which this is the plan for this next year, I guess, it should hopefully remain the same or get better. We are much better in a much better headspace than we were last year, 2 years, 3 years. So I guess you can consider it a success story. Haven't logged on to Tinnitus Talk in over a year now. Last April, I actually checked. Now, I did view a couple posts and generally got very sad, because the posts I wanted to view were what's going on with the cures, because there were supposed to be cures, at least advancements. And one of those projects turns out that, we can go into detail later on, but it was a complete failure. Potentially even funds were mismanaged. So that was saddening to hear. But apart from that, I am going to support Tinnitus Talk in the future. I do want to be a part of the tinnitus community. Obviously, right now, I need to get my life back on track. We're having like a midlife crisis or whatever. But yeah, it's been 4 years. Approaching 4.5, approaching 4.5. 1602 days. That's crazy that I haven't thought about it for the most part. There's days, obviously it's there, but you just get so used to it, because there's so much chaos in my life right now that it's probably not the best example, but I'm sure if you distracted yourself with other stuff, because there were periods like last year where it was getting better, and obviously I didn't have as much stress. If I smoke a cigar for too long, that's when it starts ramping up. If I take certain medications, caffeine, if I get super stressed, there's a lot of stuff that I've learned to avoid, to watch out for, to be careful, to ration, to whatever. Main thing is protect your hearing, because it can get worse, 100%. Try and find ways to make your life quieter around you. So if I was living in the city, 100%, I think it would be worse, but thankfully I'm living in the suburbs. I try and watch out for Harley Davidsons. I am trying to find quieter work, and that's ultimately why I want to work in a corporate job, because I get to sit in an office and boom, it's super quiet, and I don't want to risk getting my hearing even worse. Would I go work at a bar or a nightclub? 100% no. I don't care what the money was, even if it was enough to get me out of my debt. It would worsen my tinnitus, and I was at a point where the tinnitus starts taking over your entire life. I'm not there anymore. It's gotten better, so at least I can report that, hey, one thing in my life is getting better. It's not going to be cured until there is a cure for it. So ultimately, hopefully, we got to get out of this debt one day, and start investing and start getting back up there, so we're able to support, the cause and the cure of tinnitus, and research for it and try to improve the lives of other people, because I hate hearing that other people are suffering, and some people have been responding to me, asking me for advice. I got to eventually respond. I'm sorry. I've been obviously very busy, just trying to get my life back on track. But good news is I was in a very, very bad spot. And if I'm able to get out, there's a lot of hope for many people. Again, tinnitus is still there. It's not like, oh, it's quiet. There's many people who are like, habituation, it's getting quieter. And I'm not sure if it's fully habitual. I don't know. It's a weird phase that you're just not thinking about it. Is it there? 100%. If I focus in on it right now, yeah, it's there, 100%. Does it change pitch? Yeah, there's multiple pitches, there's multiple tones, but you're at a point where you just don't care, because you have so many other things. It's kind of like if someone was pointing a gun at you. Would you care about your tinnitus getting worse from the fact that if they shoot and miss, your tinnitus is going to get worse? No, at the moment you're going to be worried, oh my God, they're going to shoot and my life's going to be over. That's what you're worried about. So think of it like that. Now, don't use my example where you have a lot of chaos, worse things. Try and find better things, but that's that. So I just want to report some good news, I guess. So anyways, hopefully we're able to help cure tinnitus, or someone else finds a cure for it in the next 10 years. At any point in time, it can get worse, and there's a little bit of fear behind it, but there's reasoning behind that fear, because it can get worse. Because what happens if I get sick and I get taken to the hospital? And that's a fear of mine. You're in an ambulance ride where it's going to be very loud. Your body's going to be reacting, and whatever, if you're going through a sickness or something happened to your body, it might react in such a way where it ramps up your tinnitus, and then any medications you get. So that's a fear of mine, but that's also why you got to work on your health to try and prevent certain things. And obviously I'm not in the best spot for that. So I do think it can get better for many people out there. I will never guarantee anything, because I know exactly that what works for one person doesn't work for another, and it's very tough. But just for my story, just from my position, where I was in a terrible position, and people have read my posts on Reddit Tinnitus and Tinnitus Talk, and I'm very happy that those forums and websites are gaining more traction. And I'm not happy that there's more people with it, but overall I'm happy that there's a better amount of resources, where even just a couple years ago it was not as plentiful. It's crazy that 4 years has passed. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good night. See ya.